О, какая мадам. Мадам.
Doing some little repairs on it there now. In 1873, 1,200 Irish immigrants petitioned to have their own church. So the Archdiocese gave them this land and permission to build the church on one condition.
Halifax Public Gardens. Вот наш экскурсионный автобус. Этот город был основан в 18 веке. А сколько жителей в этом городе? Сколько жителей, знаешь? Георгины, осенние цветы. Какой шмель. Видишь, как красиво. Вот сколько шмелей. А этот вообще заснул на цветке. Много их тут. И вот смотри, видишь? Нектар пьют. Красивые, да, цветы осенние? Красивые. Ой, какие красивые цветы. Погода чудесная. Не жарко, не холодно. Вообще Канада мне нравится. Подсолнухи. Подсолнухи. Вставай, я тебя сфотографирую там возле подсолнуха. Вставай. А? И вон какие-то желтые еще цветы. Красивые. Как Люксембургский сад. Красивый сад. Ой, какие розы красивые. А воздух какой. Это что за статуя? Как? Да? На Париж похоже. Францию напоминает. Такая беседка. А там кактусы, да? И вон кактус тоже. Давай эту грядку снимем. Такие красивые кактусы. Угу.
Too bad that that is burned, eh? That other day when we were here, they were clearing through it.
Я помню, такие цветы в Херсоне были. Вот. Их называли будяки, будяк. Колючие, видишь? А тут они такие огромные. Мгм. Где? Это не кипарис. Кипарис? Но это какой-то кипарисы высокие и как тополя пирамидальные. А это что-то другое. А вот еще сколько этих кактусов.
As to whether he was guilty or not. That was the method back in the day. Here, 1749 into the mid-1800s, pirates, privateers. Pirates you'd find at the mouth of the harbor, and so they're flush.
No, that's one of our city buses.
Такой зеленый
So
город.
we make our way around the public
Похож на
gardens on our
Херсон.
way to the Halifax Citadel. And at the top of the Citadel,
Pay attention.
okay, nobody look. I don't want to look. This is bad enough. This. Okay. I love my job. I don't know about you guys, but I think I'm going to need a drink after work today. Right on. I don't know about that RV parked up there though, Ron. Oh my God. Oh.
Кладбище.
Can you move in?
No, I'm good, thank you.
I can't.
Oh my goodness.
Ron, you got it.
I actually got out to the video, but I couldn't get out the door. So this beautiful
Как приятно жить вот именно в таких небольших городках.
Everywhere. During COVID, everybody moved here. Everybody, real estate went crazy. Everybody was buying houses because if you were in an industry where you could work from home or attend like Dalhousie University went online, so there was more online. Everybody was starting from home or working from home.
Панорама города. Мгм. Город растет. В городе было 350 тысяч жителей, сейчас 440 тысяч. Да, по размерам Херсона. Хорошая погода, такой воздух чистый, приятный. А вон вдалеке виден наш корабль. Вот.
municipality. And when COVID happened and the whole work from home, and also people investigating, thinking about a quieter way of life, we have had an influx, bringing us up to a population of over 440,000 people now. So that's a lot of people coming in. We are now at a 1% vacancy rate. So if you look around the city, take a look in front of us right here. Look at the cranes. You look to the right, cranes. There is nothing but cranes all around the city. And these buildings can't go up fast enough. It's like, go ahead, little buddy. So they gave them the permit to build the building higher than what is normally allowed for this area. And then about a year and a half ago, might be my spring trip. Not by bus. No thanks, Ron. I think I'll take a flight or three. So we are now making our way down Winter Street. We're on our way to the Fairview Lawn Cemetery. And the Fairview Lawn Cemetery, in that cemetery, there is a section that has 121 victims of the Titanic. There's also, the body was brought upon the ship.
Мы едем на кладбище, где захоронены жертвы Титаника.
Body bags, embalming fluid, everything necessary to
Некоторые бади, некоторые тела были захоронены в этом городе.
What they didn't expect was the amount of bodies that was placed in a bag that was kept with the body. Now these items were collected by the police. If the body was not identified, they were brought to the police station.
350
So you'll see the headstones. They are in the shape of
которые
the bow of the
утонули
ship. And set to
затонувшего
point in the
Титаника,
direction where the
они
Titanic
были
sank.
захоронены именно здесь.
So we have the headstone of the unknown child. Now the unknown child was the fourth body brought on board the ship. Not identified, went through some identification process. One of the items that was recovered from his body, he was about a 2-year-old toddler, was a tiny pair of leather shoes.
Некоторые тела были
Now, the police chief had these items and they were all supposed to be
неузнаваемые.
burnt
В общем, даже
after a certain
детские
period
тела
of
были
time
тут
if they were not
захоронены.
claimed. But he could not burn the
После
leather
этой
shoes. He
трагедии,
put them in
когда
his desk
Титаник
and kept
затонул,
them. And after he retired, he ended up bringing those home with him. Put them in his on his fireplace mantle and kept those shoes. They were passed down to his son and then his grandson. And when the Maritime Museum here, down along the waterfront, was doing the Titanic exhibit, the grandson thought, what a great place to actually donate those to the
Titanic.
exhibit.
по-английски.
And he brought the
Титаник.
tiny shoes in, and through a series of identification, they were actually used in an identification process to identify the body of Sidney Leslie Goodwin through DNA, and there were only 3 bodies that were ever exhumed in the Titanic cemetery, and young Sidney Leslie Goodwin was one of them. So through DNA, the shoes, the records of the ship, and family member descendant of that child came to Halifax. So I think we're going to have another group in there. So if we just want to take a minute, we'll let them in. We'll actually sit here on the bus for a minute, and I'll tell you a little bit more because there's going to be
Вот это кладбище, на котором захоронены 350 где-то тел, утонувших на Титанике. Не все тела были идентифицированы. Не все тела были узнаваемы, сказала, да? И какие даже детские тела были. Десятого апреля 1912 года это случилось. 2200 пассажиров было на борту. Судно затонуло за 2 часа и 40 минут. И только 700 пассажиров были спасены. Многие утонули, many were buried at sea, но 209 тел были привезены в Халифакс. Я смотрю, здесь захоронение и 90-го, 1990 года, и вот 1917 год, 1966. Вот все эти камушки, это все захоронены с Титаника. Тела. 1912 год, апрель 15. Люси, Саймон, Малкон. Титаник направлялся в Нью-Йорк. Все знают эту историю, что он ударился о ледяную скалу. Видишь? Ни даты рождения, ничего, вот только много неопознанных тел было. Вот так, айсберг. Так много тел утопил. Такая трагедия была. Смотри, это ребенок, наверное, был, да? Что это такое? Двухлетний ребенок был. В 1910-м родился. И в 12-м погибла. Вот и ребенок Чайлд. Не успела пожить. А вот 25-летний. 25 лет прожил. А тут неизвестно, когда родились, видишь? Неопознанные тела, да? А как они узнали? А вот смотри, даже ни имени, ни фамилия, ни вообще ничего. Некоторые имена есть. Кошмар. Гриш, они вылавливали их или как? Тела, да? Или они находились прямо они находились на корабле, да? Топливный.
Корабль на дне.
Кошмар.
Корабль на дне.
Да, да. Это их со дна, да? Ой, ужас. А почему именно в Канаде они захоронены?
Это был ближайший порт.
Ближайший порт. А где это случилось конкретно? Где эта глыба была ледяная? Где именно?
В Атлантическом океане, на пути из Англии.
Ближе к Канаде? И что, айсберг был? Это что, зима была? Это апрель, весна. Пишу, айсберг, кошмар. Вот эти все кубики это. Утопленники. Кошмар какой-то. Да, грустно. Грустная история. А вот 21 год. Родился. Написано только, а как они узнали, что именно у него такой возраст? Там что, паспорт при нем был или что? Кто-то так кашляет там сильно, господи. Там одна так кашляет в маске. Titanic Graveside. Да, грустно.
But I always, just as we pass by this area, I always like to give a tribute to this land here to the left of me and that we're driving on. It goes all the way up to Casino, Nova Scotia. If you're lucky enough to get to the casino and lucky enough to win, your winnings here in Canada are tax-free. If you So one of those calls was answered by the city of Boston. Anybody on board from Boston? Anybody know the story of the Christmas tree? So Halifax, to thank Boston for helping us rebuild. I mean, basically the help that they sent not only helped people, but they stayed behind doctors and nurses. They brought construction materials to help us rebuild. So every year, the end of November, the mayor and Halifax explosion, and it was never reset. So that is also a heritage building built in the mid-1800s. And I also, actually, if you keep your camera out, just coming up on the left-hand side of us here, if you get a chance to look down just past the corner of this building, goes to show you how we prize our heritage here. If you get a chance to look at those two facades of a building being held there by structural metalwork, as you are not allowed to destroy the facade of the building, but you could be given permission to actually build behind it. So they now have to build a building behind that and incorporate that facade, both sides, into that building. So that is how things work here in the downtown area. So Barrington Street would have been one of the oldest streets in our city. We would have had Barrington and the two streets below it, Lower Water and Hollis. And Hollis Street always became known as the city of bars, barracks, and brothels. So when you had the early 1800s with Alexander Keith coming here and opening up his brewery, and rum being produced, and pirates and privateers plying the trade in Halifax Harbor, privateers could get away with it. Pirates, they got hung. But does anybody know the difference between a pirate and a privateer? So a privateer was basically a legalized pirate. He was given what's called a letter of marque by the king or queen of the day. He was allowed to pirate as long as he was allowed to plunder at will, as long as 50% of what he took in went back to the realm. Our very oldest burial grounds in Halifax. This is Ye Olde Burying Ground. in 1749, the year the city was founded. While there are 1,200 headstones there are more than 2,000 bodies buried. So lots of heritage buildings along here. Also some faculty buildings of Dalhousie University, the Bangladesh. From Bangladesh all the way to Halifax to study at Dalhousie University. That goes to show you how that university's reputation is known around the world. Very pretty at night here, Peace and Friendship Park. So just heading back into the terminal.
Вон наш
See your ship
корабль.
directly in front of us there. Smokestack's going. I think they might be waiting for you. Anybody have dinner reservations? Does anybody want to take a little more drive around the city? Do you?
Возвращаемся на наш корабль.